Good morning, it's Dr. Karen. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about skincare and skincare routines. Now, let's kind of start back at the beginning with my personal journey with skincare. As a young girl, one of the things that my mom always told me was always moisturize your skin. My grandma Bowling, always moisturize your skin. So I grew up in the era of Pond's cold cream, the one that you keep in the refrigerator, and oil of Olay. And I would use all of these different creams, and then I was kind of crazy and a little bit of an idiot and did tanning beds for a while because, I wanted to be as dark as I possibly could be. And then fast forward 2019, I'm diagnosed with an invasive squamous cell carcinoma, which I had to have the Mohs procedure and then subsequent topical fluorouracil, which is a topical chemo. And so after that, it was all sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. I need medical grade skincare. I knew certain things like I don't need phthalates and I need to be careful with parabens and all of these forever chemicals, but I assumed that medical grade meant that it was good for my skin. I would notice I'd start a new regimen, 47 steps, took me an hour and a half to do my skincare in the evenings, and I don't wear makeup, so that had nothing to do with it. And I found that after about a week or two, my skin would look very sallow, very dull, very dry, very lackluster. And I would spend hundreds of dollars on these regimens. So I had that elusive skincare drawer that was just full of discarded things that just didn't work for me. So then let's fast forward a little bit. I start getting more into the naturopathic things, the homeopathic things, the more essential, wise traditions, things that people used to do to keep their skin nice and healthy. And I realized that I was doing it all wrong. Now, I have maturing skin. I'm almost 50, so my skin is mature. And I want to keep it as healthy as possible. So I was given this little bitty jar at one of these conferences that I went to, and it was tallow, which y'all know me, I don't do a whole lot of meat eating it anyway, so the thought of putting fat on my skin was a little, I don't really know, but I gave it a go. So it was Tubes Organic, and it was a tallow infused with castor oil, frankincense, and lavender. Now, I really like castor oil and frankincense. I use castor oil for my eyebrows, my eyelashes. I love frankincense. I've had skin cancer, so frankincense goes everywhere. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll give this a try. And I noticed my skin looked great. So I was like, well, let's give it a week or two, see if I start breaking out or if I start looking really dull or sallow or lackluster again. And it didn't. And I was like, wow, maybe this is the answer. So I did a little bit more research, and I've been recommending this Tubes Organic to all of my maturing skin ladies because it does a great job at creating a beautiful barrier to the skin. Now, let's talk about how we get glowing skin to begin with. Remember, it all starts from the inside. What you eat will show on the outside. What you drink will show on the outside. So eating a really healthy diet full of good omegas, making sure that you're eating plenty of antioxidants, making sure you're eating plenty of green leafy vegetables so you're getting selenium, zinc, biotin, all of those great minerals that you need. That is the most important. And then staying well hydrated. You need to be drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water per day. This is going to give you glowing skin. This is going to help with skin turnover. This will help with your hair, your skin, your nails, everything. So make sure you're well hydrated. Now, back into my deep dive into tallow. So why is tallow so good for the skin? Well, tallow is a fat, and we know fat is lipid. Lipid is cholesterol. One of the things about beef tallow and even leaf lard from pigs is that it is very similar in the molecular structure to human cholesterol molecules, to that phospholipid bilayer that surrounds every single cell. So when you put tallow on your skin, what it is doing is it's absorbing deeply into the skin. It's not causing a reaction. So people with like mast cell activation syndrome or chronic inflammatory response syndrome, you're not going to get those responses because it's mimicry. It looks very similar to what your cells already have on them. So it's readily absorbed. Now, the other thing about tallow, it is high in vitamins A, D, E, and K. These are your fat-soluble vitamins. So every time you're putting this fat on your skin is getting all these nutrients. Now I want you to think just for a second. When you get a scar, what do they tell you to put on it? Vitamin E. If you have aging skin and you're wanting to refresh it, what do we say? Oh, use a retinol, vitamin A. So then what about vitamin D? Now, one of the crazy things that I've found in all of these years of study and all of this research that I've done is that vitamin D is integral to the skin. Having a normal vitamin D is super important. So, you have a compound in your skin called 7-DHC, 7-dihydrocholesterol. When the sunshine hits it, it converts it over to D3. D3 is absolutely vital for the body for a lot of things. Your hair, your skin, your nails, your hormones, the way you lose weight, the way that your body does all of its enzymatic reactions, all centers around having normal amounts of vitamin D. Like around 65 is what I'm looking for, milligrams per deciliter. Now, if you don't have high enough vitamin D, and you can look at the studies on this, you're at a higher risk for skin cancer and melanoma. So it's one of those kind of oxymoronic things where you need vitamin D. You need to be synthesizing vitamin D from the sun in order to protect yourself from certain types of skin cancer. Now, we know vitamin D is super important for the skin now. We know vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin K is so important. It is kind of like the overall vitamin, the miracle vitamin. Helps with a lot of different things. It helps to kind of buffer and act as a chaperone with different transport systems. So that's why we love tallow now. Now, frankincense. Frankincense is an essential oil. It's really kind of cool how they get frankincense. If you look into the history of how did they get it out of that little tree, I think it's called a boswellia tree, regardless. It's quite amazing how they get this resin and they put it in frankincense. Frankincense is currently being studied and has been studied for the augmented and helpful treatment of cancers and things like that. Really great for the skin, helps to turn over skin cells, helps to create a healing barrier. Now, lavender, if you get one that's infused with a lavender essential oil, lavender is actually the precursor to things like Benadryl. It is calming to the skin. It helps to calm down inflammation and inflammatory responses. Castor oil. Castor oil can penetrate deep into the skin and deep into the pores. And castor oil, especially if it's hexane-free, is amazing for repairing skin, breaking down small little growths. It helps with hair growth. It creates nourishment for the hair, for the eyelashes, for the eyebrows. It's great for reducing fine lines and wrinkles. So getting a skincare product that has tallow, castor oil, frankincense, and lavender in it is super amazing. So I've been searching for other brands because, you know, tubes can't just be the only one out there that's amazing. And I went to a farmer's market. So this is a little bottle of tubes that I use. I went to this farmer's market out in Batesville and I met this lovely lady by the name of Nikki. And Nikki creates Rerooted Tallow Company. And her tallow is absolutely amazing. I bought several jars of it and have been using it in place of the tubes and I absolutely love it. So the one that I have does have the frankincense, the castor oil, the lavender. It smells absolutely amazing. My skin loves it. I feel very glowy, very pretty. I absolutely think it's amazing. I'm very moisturized, very hydrated. It's not causing any breakouts in my skin. We're hoping to carry some of hers in here in the office, but if not, I find her at the Batesville Farmers Market. I'll put a link to her page down in the comments. But it's Rerooted Tallow Company and it is absolutely wonderful. I love this tallow. She has deodorant, she has essential oil bug sprays for both people and for pets. She has lip balms, what else? Room sprays, deodorants. I also bought a full body lotion because this one is special, so I put it on my face. But I got one of her tallow full body lotions with aloe in it. And when we went camping, everybody got a little roasty toasty on the 4th of July, and that was wonderful and soothing for the skin. So if you have any questions, get a hold of Nikki at Rerooted Tallow Company or call the office. But like I said, my skin has changed over the years, and I feel like I found a product that's actually helping nourish my skin, feed my skin, hydrate my skin, and heal my skin. So I'm absolutely in love with Rerooted Tallow. If you have any questions, give me a call.